Lisa was stunned as she realized the beggar she had just seen seemed to be none other than her boyfriend, who had disappeared 2 years ago, yet she hadn't recognized him at all. In a frantic rush, she ran outside, searching for him, but no matter how hard she looked, she couldn't find the familiar figure again. She couldn't accept this. The person she had been desperately searching for had been right by her side all along, and she hadn't even recognized him. The narrow alley echoed with Lisa's heart-wrenching sobs. She cried so fiercely that she nearly lost consciousness, but no one responded. Eventually, she drove to the hospital, only to be told that Nick had been discharged 2 weeks ago. Lisa was left speechless. Was it true? Would she never see Nick again? Just then, a thought crossed her mind, a place where they had once vowed eternal love, the Golden Sea of Flowers. And sure enough, Nick had come there too. He released his little pet turtle by the lake, and the old dead tree that once stood there had somehow been replaced by 2 tables and chairs. He gently ran his fingers over the braille on one of the tables. It was a message waiting for Nick to come home.
아저씨 내가 그랬잖아요. 눈 뜨면 아저씨 얼굴만 보겠다고. 근데 왜 하루 종일 내 얼굴만 보게 만들었어요?
As she touched the horrifying scar on Nick's face, she knew deep down that he had become like this because of her. Their story had started with an awkward encounter. On his first day as a security guard, Nick had witnessed something strange. A blind girl had inexplicably given him a bunch of food and mentioned she had brought him a bottle of wine. Looking at the food she handed him, Nick was surprised. It turned out she had mistaken him for the previous security guard. Realizing her mistake, she awkwardly took the food back, preparing to leave, but the heavy rain outside stopped her. Watching Lisa standing alone, drenched in the rain, Nick couldn't stand it any longer. He decided to invite her in to wait out the storm. During their time together, Nick noticed something unusual. Even though Lisa couldn't see, she seemed to enjoy the sounds coming from the TV. This piqued Nick's curiosity. Then, when Lisa turned back for a brief moment, something about her gaze left Nick flustered. It was the first time he'd ever felt this strange, unfamiliar sensation. To thank him for taking her in, Lisa gave him the seaweed rolls as a gift when she left, urging him to savor them. Back at home, Nick took a small bite. It was so delicious that he found himself hooked. He'd never tasted anything like it before. Excited, he shared some with his pet turtle. That night, Nick couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about Lisa and looked forward to seeing her again. Sure enough, the next day, Lisa returned. They exchanged simple introductions. When Lisa extended her hand to him, Nick froze, nervous and unsure of what to do. It was his first time shaking hands with a girl. After the brief contact, he shyly pulled his hand back. But that brief encounter had awakened something deep inside Nick, a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time. Nick was distracted every day now. Without realizing it, Lisa had planted the seed of love in his heart, but fate seemed to have other plans for them. One day, as Lisa took Nick to visit her parents' graves, she couldn't help but reflect on the tragic accident that had changed her life. It had happened on a family trip. As they drove through an intersection, she had seen a man on fire falling from a building. In that brief moment of distraction, a large truck came barreling towards them. The accident had claimed both of her parents' lives. Lisa had survived, but at the cost of her eyesight. Nick couldn't believe it. The one who had caused the accident was none other than himself.